Parjan India and Central Asia is a premier forum created by the industry for the industry. The 15th annual Parjan India and Central Asia Exhibition and Conference returns to New Delhi in 2016 under the theme All Power, Cleaner, Leaner and Greener. The event is renowned for providing the complete energy package with representation from leading regional and international power industry companies from across the entire power generation sector. As the region's leading clean energy event, Parjan India and Central Asia is renowned for being the premier event for meeting major players in the Indian and international power sector and learning about the latest technologies.
Good afternoon, everybody. Solar pump is a new concept in India, and water pumping, particularly for agriculture and drinking, there are two options which are currently being worked upon. So I'm going to talk about irrigation options. And here, when I talk about this subject here, basically it's to keep it in mind that a farmer today needs water for irrigation for his field. Although the focus of the government has been so far only to give electricity to run a water pump. So here it's an off-grid solar pump application that we are talking about. Just to give you a background, that this solar pump project, or I would say initiative, is today the world's largest initiative, where more than 35,000 solar water pumps are installed in the country, and out of that about 25,000 are installed only in Rajasthan. So if we can do it in Rajasthan successfully, I think it can be done anywhere worldwide, and that's what has been recognized by the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, and it is also a part of the food, water, energy nexus. So it's linked to the food security as well. So just to run through very briefly, we want to replace subsidy on diesel, and we want to bridge the shortfall in rural energy availability, and we also want to bring the barren land under cultivation and boost the farm productivity. These are the intents. It's a picture taken from somewhere. This is what is nothing to be talked about in this. This is a daily struggle. This is also a daily struggle. This is for irrigation. You can see the diesel pump sets, and this is just one example, but it's across the country. So we need reliable and cost-efficient solution for the rural India, and the subsets are to make energy available at point of use. Grid lines reaching every farm is a dream. Distributed off-grid energy generation and in-situ consumption we feel is the best solution. And grid-tied solar pump is actually a duplication of setting up a grid line, so it can be either of the two. Now, how do we specify a solar pump and what mistakes we make? People say that if I am using a 10 HP or a 15 HP normal AC grid pump, I need a 15 HP solar pump. No, that's not correct. Half the capacity of an existing grid pump can be provided by a solar pump, because the line powered pumps, they work only for 3 to 4 hours because of the electricity supply not being continuous. They are used for flood irrigation or water storage, and then the subsidy on electricity actually demands installation of a higher capacity of the pump. But in solar, we can do it at half the capacity and get as much water. It's a myth, we feel, that water table is very low in India and only submersibles are suitable. However, the Central Groundwater Board data actually provides some very startling things. It says in 70% area, the water table is just less than 10 meters. So there are areas where the water table, if you see on the left side red area, which is Rajasthan, yes, the water is 600, 700, 500 feet, but then there are certain areas where you get water in Rajasthan itself at about 100 feet, 80 feet, 90 feet, things like that. And then if you see the belt closer to Nepal, coastal Andhra, and upper into the northeast, the water tables are really, really good. So based on the water level, the pump type is recommended. And if you see in the water table up to 10 meters, 0 to 2, 2 to 5 and 5 to 10 meters, you actually basically need a surface pump. It's basically a lift irrigation, or you just transport the water from one area to another. And if the water table is 10% and up 10 meters and beyond up to 100 meters, 150 meters, you need to use a solar submersible pump for off-grid generation and in-situ water irrigation. There are common types, two types of surface pumps. They are less than 10 meters, very quick to install, efficient, single stage, low or no maintenance, and they are portable. So it can be on a surface if you see, or it can be this is here, and it can be a floating pump here actually. There are different types of submersible pumps recommended for greater than 10 meters up to 150 meter borewell depths. They are solar available. So multi-stage and single and double stage open well pumps. So if you have a well which is at 60-70 meters or less in fact, then you can use a double stage open well system. The components of a solar pumping system, simple: solar array, cable, controller, a submersible cable, which is generally we call it a solar cable specifically, a pump, a delivery pipe. It may or may not have a storage tank. The storage tank here denotes basically for drinking water purposes, where you need to actually provide drinking water, where water is potable after you pump it from the ground. There are certain, when you go for the design of a system, then there are losses which are basically pipe and friction losses, power cable losses, pump and motor efficiency, the controller efficiency, which is always greater than 95%, and then how you deploy the water. So if it is a drip irrigation, then you lose a total head of about 27 meters per hectare. So this is the kind of parameters we take before we actually specify the capacity of a pump. There is a ready software, you just put in your head and it automatically tells you how much is the pump capacity requirement. The impact of pump set efficiency on the overall system. If you look at the bottom green line, the best efficiencies of water wire efficiency is about 55%. And in a worst scenario, it is red side on the 28%. However, the individual component, everything is greater than 60% efficiency, going up to 95-96% efficiency. So the system efficiency in selecting a pump is to be taken into consideration when we specify a particular type of pump. What are the technologies and their suitability in India? So the technology has to address following challenges. The locations are remote, water is sandy and muddy, there is no tracking of PV array. Once you track a PV array in a dusty condition, it forms a cake at the knuckle joint, it does not move. So it becomes ineffective because of humidity as well as high temperatures. So there's an environment is dusty. The product has to be minimum IP54 certified, sealed. And of course there is a misuse and theft. So these are the challenges which we have to address. The technologies which meet these expectations in terms of efficiency and water output operates at low radiation level and high reliability. These are the three expectations. They matter because we must get the maximum yield per unit of investment. There should be about 10 to 12 hours of sprinkler and drip irrigation. I'm not talking about flood irrigation here, because it is generally recommended that when you have a solar water pump which is on an 8 to 10 hour day cycle, we should be able to use it on a continuous basis for 8-10 hours rather than storing the water within 3 to 4 hours for, through the flood irrigation process. And of course the installation in remote areas. The preferred technology is brushless DC or a permanent magnet DC pump. They are 10 to 15% more efficient than a typical AC pump. The DC pump, from the operation point of view, it starts early morning, say at 6 o'clock, maybe 6:30, 7 o'clock, as low as a voltage of 96 volts to 100 volts, whereas an AC pump needs 460, 480 volts to start with. And my friend today, we talked in the morning, he said I can make a pump start at even 24 volts. That's a very fabulous thing. I'll work on that technology. The high reliability comes from 100% stainless steel product, IP54 fanless motors, vacuum impregnated, sealed, hermetically sealed magnet and winding, and it's like a fit and forget design and humid condition, duly supported by a 5-year warranty guaranteed, no questions asked products. Additional expectations, durability, so it must be 10 years. Work with different PV array voltages, yes, it should work with different PV voltages, and there should be serviceability. Durability is only because of high investment. Different voltages, array voltages, yes, generally recommended is 250 watts, but then people have 230 to 305, 310 watt panels. They should be deployable for each one of those. And again, serviceability because of installation in remote areas. The technology preferred, again, high quality pump which is built for exclusively solar rather than commercial pumps, so that they remain active and operative for 10 years. Permanent magnet and brushless DC pumps, they operate at low voltage, as I mentioned. AC motors, minimum 220 and goes up to generally 460 if it's in a 3-phase condition. The installation is again sealed motors, hermetically sealed plug and play inverters, controllers, and then respectable service network in the countrywide scenarios. What are the additional desirable features? It should operate in a sandy and muddy water. It should have a remote tracking and fault tracking, which also includes servicing and energy for rural household. Why it matters? There are common failure in submersible pumps due to clogging. So if you have a submersible pumps put at, let us say, 100 meters, 500 feet or 400 feet or 600 feet, taking that pump out itself is a big task because it becomes very, very heavy and it becomes very, you can say it gets jammed into that muddy and sandy water. So that becomes very cumbersome. In the remote monitoring, you have to track assets, provide after-sales service and monitor. So digital technology is going to play and is playing a great role. So an app is now being developed so that a farmer can have it on his computer. The officers can have it on their computers, in their mobiles, and see which pump is working, red, green, blue, yellow, whatever nomenclature or color coding you want to give. And energy for rural household matters because of energy usage when pump is not used. So typically a pump is used for about 3 to 4 hours. That's what is the requirement. Yet when it is not used, what do we do with the existing array capacity? So coming to the sandy conditions, the preferred technology is high torque motor. They will not jam. Permanent magnet and brushless have 5 times higher peak torque than the conventional wound AC motors. Remote tracking is through GPRS data based on data transfer, sensorless hardware. There can be SIM card operated through the telecom network, and there can be remote location. They are available, can be done. So even before, the moment system has a difficulty, you get an alert on your handphone that okay, this is an issue. And when energy is not used by the pump, then you put it to an inverter and generate electricity and provide to the farmer's own household system. So that's where I'm going to work with Mr. Manju to see that this is done in a very quick fashion. So what is a brushless and a permanent magnet DC technology, and how does it move in a global demand? So brushless means there are no brushes. So the stator is a fully magnetic. If you see the blue part is a full magnet layer. There are no windings, nothing. And then you have a stator, which is of course wound stator. So in the rotor side, you have a magnet, permanent magnet, high efficiency, long life, high port levels to work upon that. So advantages, I mean BLDC motors is like LED lighting, super efficient, high peak torque, so very low voltage, very low energy to start, as low as 24 volts. Very reliable, magnet never fails, these are permanent magnets. No voltage restriction, you can start from 24 volts, go to whatever volts, because the DC is a DC scenario, and we take the current directly from the panel, so we don't even have to go for inversion, the motor runs directly on the panel DC. Some of the applications, typical household applications, inverter air conditioners, they are all DC. Washing machines are all DC motors, brushless. Electric rickshaws now, they need an electric DC, brushless DC. The steering system, and then in the car, starter windows, window motors, wiper motors, they are all DC concepts. How a DC, a brushless DC provides more water? It's about 25 to 30,000 25 to 35 lakh liters per year is the additional water what you get, because pump starts early morning 6 o'clock, 6:30, and it goes on and on and on because of its higher efficiency for the day. So this is again the efficiency, how it increases from efficient 1, efficiency 2 to IE2 level AC motors to permanent magnet and BLDC, as you can see here. These are the typical definitions or typical sizes for a DC pump with sprinkler and drip. So a 3 HP motor with a 30 meter head, then a 50 meter head, and then a 5 HP with a 50 meter and 70 meters is equivalent to what head it can go is, as you can see, a 5 HP 70 meter thing is actually operates at 175 meters head, which is almost 600 feet to go for. So higher head, more water pressure, more area under irrigation, and runs more number of sprinklers. So requirement of irrigation for a specific crop is determined and matched with the pump and the pumping head. As I talked to you, early start, late stop, this is on the brushless. Winding versus encapsulate winding, hermetically sealed, long life. The size matters. So you can see a smaller capacity or same capacity, size, weight, pump, efficiency, all is an improved thing into the brushless and permanent magnet DCs. Fail-safe pumps, again because of magnet and their inherent design. The controllers, AC winding versus DC, so IP54, built-in MPPT systems, fanless cooling, sealed for moisture, dust, insects, so on and so forth. These are the advantages here.